he's actually going to have three hatcheries worth of mutas out pretty quick. So this is a really effective build. And those shorts are going up at the perfect time as well. But what was I saying? He might, you know, instead of going sort of all in with mass mutas off 2 hatcheries early, he went a little bit medium level and got for some econ instead in the middle there, and he might just try and go for a mass econ build instead, go four bases and just drone up those bases and not go all in with these mutalisks. He's gathering up mutas here now. He has about 6 or 7 at the moment, probably a few more joining up. He's probably going to get that full 11, and then he may even just start droning after he gets that full 11 there. Maybe make a few extra reinforcements there. He's now just kind of testing the waters, sticking the end of his toe in there to see how hot the water is. He sees it's pretty hot, so he's going to kind of hold back a little bit, wait for things to cool off, wait for him to get, well, I guess a stronger toe in getting more mutalisks in the mix there. And there's a lot of Marines there and some decent amount of turrets as well. He's going to get +1 Marine weapons here pretty soon as well. So that's what I'm anticipating is +1 weapons. So he's going to be in good shape to defend. Fantasy is basically well defended. You could pretty much say he's defended actually. And actually it looks like he may be trying to move out a little bit. And put the pressure on Hoejja, and this could be very, very bad for Hoejja. Hoejja trying to engage there, takes some hits on his mutalisks, doesn't get a ton of damage, but the medics have not cut up to those Marines yet. He could pick off a few Marines pretty easily. There's some stim on them, but it looks like the medics do catch up. Yeah, so Fantasy is putting the pressure on, and Hoejja is going to be really hard-pressed to defend this, actually, because he doesn't have lurkers, nowhere near lurkers. He's going to have to put down Sun Colonies at 2 locations, because if he puts, maybe even 3 locations, because if he puts Sun Colonies at, say, the 3 o'clock base, Fantasy can either juke down to the bottom right, or he can juke up into the natural expansion and still do as much damage. But he can also get some Zerglings out, and I think that's what the Korean commentators were just saying. If he can get some Zerglings out as well, he may be able to just stomp down on this Medic Marine Force just with Mutaling if he plays it right. He's got more mutas in the mix. But now he's microing, finally picking off some of those Marines. I'm surprised those Marines are not putting more pressure on Hoejja. Why is he not pushing farther in to Hoejja's base? Picks off a Mutalisk there, nicely targeted. I'm surprised he's not putting more pressure on and getting closer into those expansions and trying to really put the hurt on him, force him to build some sunken colonies, because he could force him to build sunken colonies at a couple different bases if he wanted to. But instead he's just engaging these Mutalisks out in the open field and just macroing. At the very least, though, Marines coming in from the back there. At the very least, though, he's managed to, wow, another squad of Mutas coming out there. Bisu is perplexed. And what the hell is he wearing? Wow, someone has a fro. Who was that? Was that, I don't know who that was. Someone had like a fro going on. That was crazy. It looked kind of like Dark Elf, but Dark Elf has been forced into retirement, so it's not him, obviously. Not that it would be on either team anyway. But, yes. So, but yeah, Fantasy now macroing out here, and he's got 2 starports. It might be macroing out Wraiths or something like that. My prediction coming true once more with a little bit of cheesiness coming from Fantasy. He's got a lot of Marines in here. Here comes the Zerglings in, but he doesn't really attack with all of his forces at once, and the Mutalisks just dancing around. Oh, and he had a bunch of Mutalisks and some extra Zerglings just sitting by the wayside, not doing anything there. He's got a couple clumps of Mutalisks here, though. If he goes in with some more Zerglings and those Mutalisks, both squads of Mutalisks, he's going to finish off this Medic Marine Force. He goes in, the Zerglings a little bit behind, not enough Zergling support, though. The Marine's doing a lot of damage, killing some Mutalisks, but he just has overwhelming forces and kills off all the Marines. All the Marines get destroyed, and there's the Zerglings a little bit late. He almost didn't have a choice, though. Okay, never mind. He isn't going for mass raids. He just hadn't put the control towers back on there and gotten his science facility, so never mind. No cheesiness quite yet from Fantasy, although he did make a vulture just to show that he could, just because he felt like making a vulture. Just because he's Fantasy, he decided to make a vulture there and throw it into the mix. Anyway, so a lot of Mutalisks are now in play. He's got over a squad of Mutalisks. He's getting that Queen's Nest down so he can morph to Hive. He might be considering going for some kind of a Greater Spire build in the long run, as might be what's going on here. Fantasy is having to remacro that army up. He's lost his army there. He's been on top of his macro very, very well, but lost his army in that big battle and didn't accomplish a whole lot with that. I mean, he killed off a bunch of Zerglings and some Mutalisks, but didn't really get done what he needed to get done. Hoejja is in a really strong position here. Terran can do a ton off of just 2 bases, so do not count Fantasy out yet. But Hoejja, with 4 bases and a lot of units, now coming in here with a bunch of Zerglings. He's going to be forced to fall back, though, by this amount of Marines. He's going to wait for some reinforcements as well. If he has some extra Zerglings in there, and if he waits for Lurkers, I think he should maybe wait for some Lurkers. If he throws some Lurkers into the mix with that, well, actually, Fantasy has macroed up a ton of forces. He's got 6 barracks up now, so he's pumping out a lot of Marines. But yeah, with some Lurkers in the mix and that many Zerglings and Mutas, he could do a lot of damage. What's he doing? He's running in with Mutas. He's going to try and do some harassment again. Uh-oh, Science Vessel's in the mix. Radiate goes off. Oh, he needs to pull this out. Oh, barely finally pulls out that irradiated Mutalisk. Actually didn't take a ton of damage. He could have pulled it out quicker, though, but not too badly done at all. Now Fantasy is moving in here. A bunch of Lurkers are morphing, and they do hatch. Fantasy has missed his opportunity to kind of get in there and kill things off before those Lurkers hatch. The Lurkers do hatch, and maybe that's why he was being so tentative, so what's the word I'm looking for? Ginger, almost, with his Medic Marines before, was because he was worried about Lurkers without Science Vessels. Stop Lurker trick, killing him off. And here he comes in here. Lurkers going in, just barely getting down in the nick of time to defend this. 1 or 2 get irradiated, but there's not quite enough Science Vessels to irradiate all of those. And it looks like he's going to try and sandwich them. Lurkers on one side, Zerglings and Mutalisks on the other. Fantasy falling back to this location, not targeting the Lurkers very well, splits them up once the Lurkers burrow. He's going to do a lot of damage here, but wow, Fantasy's Marines just staying alive so long, doing so much damage before they eventually do die, though. Now Fantasy sending out another group of Medic Marines. That group was meant to kill off that bottom right base, which he almost accomplished if it weren't for that clutch, large squad of Lurkers going in there, and not a ton of Mutalisks in play. Anyway, Fantasy now moving out here with a new little squad towards, and this is kind of what this Terrans do almost. They macro up an army, they send it out, and when it dies, they send out what they've macroed while that army was microing. And so here he is coming in, trying to move into the natural expansion. He's got 2 dropships loaded up with Medic Marines here, and he's going to be able to move in and drop those in the main, and then ferry the rest of his troops in there. I don't think Hoejja sees this. Hoejja with a large force, though, in the back. Fantasy is just going north. Scourge coming in. Oh, Scourge pick off one of the dropships. He's going to be able to ferry the rest of the forces in there, regardless. It's just a single dropship. Just a few Zerglings running back there. He needs to get some medics in there, though. It looks like a lot of his medics were in the other dropship or something. Tons of irradiated Lurkers coming in there. The Lurkers despite being irradiated, might be able to get down, burrow long enough to just get a few hits on those SCVs. They do pop just as they take their first shot, and so they're not going to do as much damage as they could have. Oh no, Fantasy just dropping right on top of those Lurkers, not paying attention to this drop at all. Miss micros. Oh man, fail drop there, losing a lot of Marines. He does manage to kill off the Defiler Mound, though, and if he did not finish Consume, that would be a huge deal if he killed that off before Consume was upgraded. Look at that single Marine running around. Oh, and he managed to drop a few units behind there as well. Nicely done. Those forces are going to get pretty much killed off, but they do a lot of harassment and kill off a few drones. Killing off that Defiler Man was huge, though. I don't know if he even got any Defilers out. Wow, tons of Scourge coming in. Doesn't have a lot of Marines to protect those vessels. Looks like he's going to lose a few vessels here. Oh, massive amounts of damage done there. Mass destruction of Science Vessels, doing tons of damage, just totally cut down. He was starting to get to the point where he could just irradiate everything at will, and it just did not